Aren't you a little short for a...
What's up, nerds? Welcome to another episode of the Multiverse Report. My name is Mike. Sorry, Steve. Sorry, I'm thrown off because you made a weird face the entire time the intro music was happening, and I didn't think we were going. I thought he's gonna start over, something's going wrong, and then you pointed at me, and I was like, I gotta go, and I don't remember what I'm supposed to say.
So that's Mike Gibson.
Right out.
That one,
coming right out and saying it.
The one over there is Mike Gibson. I'm Steve Haller.
Yeah.
This is the Multiverse Report.
And tonight we're recapping the week's nerdy news from Latveria to the Lonely Mountain and everywhere in between.
Ooh.
What's up, Steve?
Nothing much, Mike. Apparently, in our ears, we didn't hear the intro music, which is what the weird face was for. Because anybody listening heard it. The weird face was me looking up the meter on OBS that we stream with, and I was like, oh, okay, it's going to them, so I don't care.
Okay.
So yeah,
because there are many times when I do not hear the opening theme song, and I just wait for you to point at me.
Mm-hmm.
But normally those times you're just sitting there calmly bobbing your head.
With it. Yeah.
But you weren't doing that. You were looking confused.
I was definitively
and normally when you look
correct.
confused, it's a start over. It's a wait, hold on a second. So anyway, sorry about that clunky intro. But we made it, folks. We're here. The Multiverse Report, Monday, April 21st. Another Monday show, becoming a more than occasional thing.
Yeah. It is.
It seems like a roll of a dice. It's like a 50-50 shot. It's going to be Sunday or Monday, just depending on what happens. Maybe we'll get back to a more standard schedule sometime, but knowing
now
Steve
is
and
not that time.
No, not going to happen. This podcast is sponsored by Funky Town Comics and Vinyl in Camillus, New York. Check them out. They are prepping for some big free comic book day events. Or one event that they're having all day on Free Comic Book Day, and that event is going to include likely me, if the weather is nice. I'll be set up outside the door selling comics, but also on the inside, you're going to have the one and only Mr. Joe Jusko.
Yeah.
Going to be there. They announced that today, I believe.
Brooklyn boy, big Yankee fan. Last time he was at the shop, I sat there and talked to him. Like, I ended up getting a book signed by him, and I was sitting there talking to him about the Yankees for like 25 minutes. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. Just real down-to-earth guy, great guy.
Really nice.
Absolutely amazing artist.
Yes, of course. If you were alive in the 90s and interested in Marvel Comics, you could not escape Joe Jusko's art. You may recognize the Marvel Masterpiece series of cards that he did that were very popular. I have the 3 of the 4 collected comic books that I got signed by him last year at Funky Town Comics. So, check them out. Be there at Free Comic Book Day. And speaking of comic books, big thing I have to say right off the top, my new comic book is launching on Kickstarter tomorrow morning. I'm shooting for around 9 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. It's called I Brought a Gorilla to a Gunfight. The preview page is up now. You can go take a look at it, or tomorrow you'll be able to look at the entire campaign. Give me all of your money for this book. That would be great if you wanted to do that. If you wanted to just unload your life savings.
Everything goes straight to Mike.
Yeah. Yep. It's a book I'm really excited about. Friend of the pod and series artist Matt Flint has done some really great work on this book. It's a book that I've been thinking about for an incredibly long time. It's also been in production in different stages for quite some time. So I'm very excited to finally get not the whole book, but get most of it out there. Get pictures and synopses and look at all this cool stuff that we're working on.
Right. Because you didn't give it, but the cliff notes on it is you're in the Old West with a bounty hunter who has an 800-pound gorilla for a sidekick.
Yes. Penny Westfield is a bounty hunter, and she does not use guns. She throws knives, and she rides an 8-foot gorilla named Moki, and they have like a Han and Chewie style relationship. And they're out to bag themselves an outlaw and bring him to their employer.
And you can see Penny's head just that side of Mike's face.
Oh, yeah, right here.
Chat.
Right there.
Yep.
Is an original, the first original piece of art given to me by Matt Flint of our main character, Penny Westfield. But she's not the only character. There are many cool characters introduced in this volume, which I hope to develop and further their adventures in many issues to follow. This first issue is a 30-page oversized issue, kind of setting the scene, introducing you to characters and their world, how their relationships, and there will be more to come. More to come. Issue 2 has already been written, or a draft of issue 2 has already been written.
Sweet.
And, as long as this one goes well, we want to make sure we start firing on the second one before too long. So, So I brought a gorilla to a gunfight on Kickstarter tomorrow.
The link is in the show notes.
The link is in the show notes, people. It's in the show notes. We got copies of the book, digital and physical, as far as rewards. You can get variant covers. You can get copies of other books that I've written in combo packs. You can get your name printed in the book. You can get a spicy pinup of our main character. Keep your eyes open for that. You won't miss it. If you're familiar with Matt Flint's artwork, you can imagine what a spicy pinup from him might look like. But again, he's outdone himself on all pieces of art that he's done for this as well. Shout out to colorist Michael Woods as well, who's done some amazing work. Brought a gorilla to a gunfight on Kickstarter tomorrow. Our top tier reward, you can also, if you want me to write and record a song for you about gorilla facts, I will do that. That's our top tier reward. It'll be an exclusive song. No two songs will be alike. It'll be at least a minute in length. But
do you need to tap into your resident biologist knowledge base for this, or are you going strictly through
I may have to.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I'm on call if you need me.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. A Gorilla Facts song written and performed by me. If that's floating your boat. I brought a gorilla to a gunfight Kickstarter tomorrow. You can go to Kickstarter.com and type in the word gorilla. I tested it today. The preview page comes up. If you just write gorilla and search for it, it comes up.
Apparently, it's not a widely used trope. So,
not since DC Comics in the 1960s, 50s and 60s, Silver Age DC Comics.
Or Hanna-Barbera in that area as well.
Grape Ape.
And Magilla Gorilla.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. See, gorillas are fun.
They are. You know what else is fun? Stretchy dudes and giant rock people and invisible people and people that get set on fire.
Light themselves on fire. Yeah. That's right. The Fantastic Four. Moving into some real news. And most of tonight's episode, by the way, will be focused on news coming out of Star Wars Celebration.
Right.
Star Wars news.
If you want to hear Mike and I rant about Star Wars, because we're very good at that. We seem to end up going off on various tangents, but prior to that, I think we're going to have to rant about Marvel's First Family, because we saw the first trailer officially from Marvel's Fantastic Four First Steps that came out this week.
Which is different from the teaser that came out a few weeks ago. And the teaser, Steve, both you and I were kind of meh on the teaser. It kind of was like, I don't know, just kind of, okay, whatever, look. And this is the first full trailer that is pretty different from the teaser.
It is.
Get a little more plot, I guess. Get a little more character. Get a little more shots of the gang in action. Steve, in general, or specific, whatever you want, how did you feel about the first trailer for Fantastic Four? Sorry, The Fantastic Four First Steps is the full name of the movie.
Do you want my actual opinion, Mike?
No, I want you to lie to me and all of our listeners.
Okay, it was absolutely amazing. And it's going to sound weird because I've heard a lot of praise for the trailer and what it showed, but it didn't do a whole ton for me.
Same.
Yeah.
Same, man. I just rewatched it before we went live because I was like, I'm gonna watch it again.
Give it a fresh look.
Give it a fresh look.
See, I'm worried. I'm worried for one, because one of the first things we find out is how closely Franklin Richards is going to be tied to this. Like Sue's pregnancy.
Yes, we found out in the trailer that Sue Storm is pregnant. Yep. It seems like seemingly they have just found out that Sue is pregnant in this movie. Yeah.
And for anyone who hasn't read the comics, Franklin Richards, the son of Sue Storm and Reed Richards, is possibly the most powerful being in existence in the Marvel Universe. So for them to lean directly into it, I get it. It's probably going to be why Galactus shows up, and like
could be. I didn't think about that.
Where like how they tie the multiverses together and like why? Because I mean, Franklin literally creates worlds. That's one of his powers.
Oh, I don't think I knew that.
Oh, okay. He's like above and beyond any power level of anything around. And for them to jump right into it, it's like, okay, I wonder how it's going to go or where it's going to go. But, you know, beyond that, it looked like Richard in the chat says, okay, not great, but not terrible. Like there was nothing, there was nothing that said, there was nothing in the trailer that said, I don't want to see this. It was just a lot of, okay, cool. That was the thing. Like, it didn't really give us much.
It gave us slightly more Galactus. It did give us the Silver Surfer, which is like a big.
It did the Shalabal Silver Surfer, which we knew prior was going to be the iteration of the Silver Surfer we were getting. Yep. Strangely, Norrin Rad's wife, I believe, in the comics at some point.
Okay. Didn't stop a lot of people online from being mad that they chose a female Silver Surfer, but what are you gonna do? People online gonna be mad about something. I felt when we're talking about the trailer, didn't do much for you. It didn't do much for me either. And again, we did this with the teaser as well, because the teaser came out on the heels of the Superman trailer, which knocked us all off of our feet.
Yeah,
the Superman trailer we all loved. And so it's hard not to compare these two movies because they're coming out at the same time. They're both kind of crucial films for DC, Warner Brothers, and Marvel, Disney. Crucial films for those respective franchises.
100%. There's a lot riding on this for both.
Like, companies.
Both studios.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. And that will... sorry, I just got a text pop up on my screen there. I was happy
the glories of using a MacBook similar to your peace sign or whatever it is.
Oh yeah, where the balloons fall down.
Yep.
When I saw the Superman trailer, I thought, "Whoa, there's never been a Superman movie that looks like this. This looks different than any other Superman movie I've ever seen." And it was introducing new elements to Superman on screen that have not been there before. Fighting giant monsters. There's, now crypto, stuff like that. Stuff that made it stand out. There's a lot of energy in that trailer. Both the teaser and this trailer, I feel like, just look like Fantastic Four. There's nothing about these two trailers, nothing about this trailer that made it look like it was like a new take or a new version or something that you've never seen before from the other three Fantastic Four movies or Fantastic Four comics. It was nothing
outside of Franklin, it was safe. It was a very safe trailer.
Yes.
They didn't. It wasn't. You don't see Superman lying in the snow, like looking like he's dying.
Yes.
It was just okay. Here's the guys. Here they are. Hi, we're in the 60s. Yeah. It's kind of Jetsons-y. That's it.
Right. Including the Silver Surfer, because we've seen the Silver Surfer in the second Fantastic Four movies, The Rise of the Silver Surfer. Like, we've seen that before.
Yeah.
So maybe if you're a kid and you've never seen the first, you're younger, you've never seen those movies, then you were really excited about this trailer, and that's great. But for people who have seen those other movies, this kind of feels just like this is just another Fantastic Four movie. It doesn't really stand out. And even the 60s thing, like, it's not really Jetson-y enough for me, I guess. If it's going to be like, I don't know, but I guess it's the 60s, so like they're limited maybe with technology or whatever. There's a couple things that I like about it, because I don't want to just dance all over it. I like that they are already celebrities, like they're being introduced, like they're going to be on a talk show.
Right. It's not another origin story.
It's not another. It seems to be almost an origin story of them realizing that they need to be protectors. They can't just be like on a talk show saying, "Hey, look, I can light things on fire," which I guess I don't know that that's what they're doing, but it seems in the movie they're like it had like
knowing Johnny, there's a good chance that's what he's doing.
That's kind of what I thought, right? Like here we are to sell, product, sell ourselves or whatever. We're celebrities.
Johnny's 100% the Michelangelo of the group.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But Vanessa Kirby at one point says to Reed, it has to be us. we have to do it. And, you know, Reed says, we will protect you, in a way that it's like, maybe he's never said that before. Or like he has to assure the people. It's not an obvious thing that Fantastic Four is going to protect these people necessarily. He has to say that to the public. I like that because it's kind of like a pseudo origin. It's like an origin without being an origin, kind of, you know. I like that aspect to it. But nothing in this trailer looked dangerous, looked like mind-blowing. Nothing was really that funny. Like, it just kind of looked, I think it was better than the teaser. It was definitely better than the teaser.
Yeah, 100%.
But I have a theory, and I think I'm right about it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like the way to explain both this teaser and this trailer being so like meh for people like you and me. Again, I'm sure some people loved it.
Yeah, there were a lot of people like the general online reaction that I saw was relatively positive.
Okay, well, good for those people.
And I have a buddy who's a huge Fantastic Four fan who thought it was great, but
okay, all right,
that's good. Also that'd be like showing me a new X-Men trailer and me being like, yeah. it's good. Like, I'm not gonna say it's bad.
It looks like the thing I know.
Right.
Yeah. This movie's still in production.
Right.
They're not done with this movie. I think it's pretty safe to assume this is kind of like the best that they had. Like, they had to make a trailer, and these were the shots that were ready for the trailer. Like, the only other explanation is that like every other shot of this movie is a spoiler. Or they're saving so much good, cool stuff for the actual movie that they make kind of a lackluster trailer because they don't have that stuff, or because they don't want to spoil that stuff. But like, I don't know, we know studios and Marvel specifically likes showing a
100%.
lot of their movies in the trailer. They even, you know,
which they shouldn't, but they do.
They shouldn't, but in the past they've gone so far as to make great trailers by editing shots that aren't in the final movie to put in trailers. You know, they did that with the Avengers in Infinity War and Endgame, had shots that weren't in the actual movie just to make a great trailer. I don't think they're doing that with this, or it would probably be a more exciting trailer. I don't know. It's just that's my theory, that they're just like, we need a trailer. What shots are ready? We need a teaser. What shots are ready? That's why the teaser was so focused on the Thing cooking sauce. Okay.
I mean, the Thing interacting with Herbie, like, okay, that's, I get why they'd include something like that. Like, I
guess so. It just doesn't
grounding
really,
with the robot, and Herbie's been there since time and the whole nine. But one thing, how much is Victor Von Doom creaming in his pants when Reed says, "I don't know"?
Yeah, I did like that. Like, yeah, that's the part. Them being like, them not knowing. Like, they have their powers, but they're not on top of their game yet. And Reed's got, I don't know. I don't know what to do.
Which Reed is notoriously the guy who always knows what to do. Yeah. So, it still got promise. Like you said, it's very early.
Sure. They're not done with it.
Right.
It's not like, I feel like Superman is probably like mostly editing at this point.
Right.
Maybe they're finishing a few VFX, but Superman's being edited still. Fantastic Four, they're still in like digital post-production on this movie, for sure. So we'll see. I did like that we got one shot of Reed stretching. Actually, finally saw his power.
You know what I did like? The cinematography.
I do like the way it's got a look to it.
It was definitely shot in a very 60s style. Like lens flare, dirty lens type stuff, and like a little grainier, a little grittier. It was like, okay, I can get behind that. So, you know,
it does have a style to it.
The more we see from it, the more we'll know.
Yep. It doesn't look exactly like every other Marvel movie.
Right.
But it's got a separation of style.
Right. It had a Marvel sheen, but it wasn't like a full Marvel coating.
Yeah.
That made no sense to anyone but whatever was going on in my brain, but we're going to go with it.
I'm going with it. All right, we'll move on to some Star Wars.
Yeah, there was a couple things that happened in the Star Wars universe.
A couple things, and we might remember stuff that we read as we're going on and shout those things out too as well. But Star Wars Celebration happened this past weekend. Convention was held in Tokyo, Japan. So all of the coverage was already over by the time I woke up in the morning. I was like, oh, what are all the things that they talked about yesterday in Japan?
Yeah, these are the glories of me going to bed at like 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night, and then waking up at 5 in the morning. I got the start of it, and then because my wife will go to bed way earlier than me, and I'm just I'll throw it on another screen. I was listening to like the first half of the coverage. I'd go to sleep for a couple hours, wake up for the last end of the coverage. I was like, all right.
Yeah. They've announced that the next Star Wars celebration will be in Los Angeles in 2027.
Yes.
Which will be part of what I assume is a enormous celebration in general for the 50th anniversary of Episode 4, A New Hope, in theaters.
Which we have multiple friends of the pod saying that we should try and make it an on-site podcast at Celebration 27. So it's a long shot of that one happening, but
it's a long shot, but it's not. It's not impossible.
Never tell me the odds, Mike.
I won't. Yeah, never tell me the odds, but you need to tell me the dates and the ticket prices.
Right.
That's what you need to tell me. That's what will depend on. So the one thing that Steve and I, what's that? Go ahead.
I was going to say, speaking of never tell me the odds.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I don't know if anyone, you know how we talked numerous times about this guy called Ryan Gosling, relatively decently, portrayed movie star. Like,
yeah.
He's been around a little bit. Comes out on stage at Star Wars Celebration, officially confirming him with a never tell me the odds hat on.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
I was like, yeah, okay, he's leaning into it. Apparently, he's in. Also in that montage when they were talking about it, his mom sent in to whoever the producers were a picture of his room growing up with Empire Strikes Back sheets on his bed. So
that's dope.
Hey,
that's great.
One of us.
Yeah, he just seems like a guy who's probably very excited to be joining the Star Wars universe officially. And I think it was kind of official, but he hadn't spoken about it, or he hadn't, he was not. Ryan Gosling, I don't think, was on record saying, "Yeah, I'm joining Star Wars."
I don't know anyone except the Scoopers were officially on Gosling and the Levy film. Like the Levy film.
Well, no, Kathleen Kennedy had talked about Sean Levy.
Did she talk about okay.
Yeah,
I couldn't remember if she had yet or not, but okay.
Yeah. Anyway, we didn't get what Steve and I said we wanted last week on the show. We wanted an update on a lot of the movies they've announced. We wanted an update on the 3 movies they announced 2 years ago at the last celebration. We did not get any of that.
Well,
we got no movement.
To a degree, we did. We did get official announcement that a number of those are still in production.
Or did we see? I didn't see that.
Yeah, okay. I'll pull that up while we talk about Star Wars.
While we're talking.
While we talk about this next piece.
Yes. Thanks for giving me the exclusive there. We did get update and confirmation on the Sean Levy, Ryan Gosling Star Wars movie. It has now a name and it has a date. Star Wars Starfighter will be released in theaters May 28th, 2027. Again, 2027 being the 50th anniversary of Star Wars, the motion picture. Star Wars Starfighter is the name of this movie. The story is set 5 years after the rise of Skywalker. We're going into the future, not far into the future, but into the future. The film is described by the studio as, quote, an entirely new adventure featuring all new characters set in a period of time that has not been explored on screen yet. That is true. Both Sean Levy and Ryan Gosling were there at Star Wars Celebration to talk about the film, with Ryan Gosling saying, the reality is that this script is just so good. It has such a great story with great and original characters. It's filled with so much heart and adventure, and there really is not a more perfect filmmaker for this particular story than Sean Levy. Sean Levy also said, quote, this is not a prequel. This is not a sequel. It's a new adventure. But, you're setting it in the timeline after Rise of Skywalker. Technically, it's a sequel, but I also get the sentiment of that statement.
Right. I think they mean it's not a sequel. Those. Yeah, it's not a sequel in the direct vein of the Skywalker saga.
Yeah, they are not carrying on any existing plot threads from any other movie, I believe is what he says by that. This is a brand new story and brand new adventure. Another piece of interesting news, not from Celebration, but the day before Celebration, it was reported that recent Oscar winner Mikey Madison was offered a role in this film,
Yep.
But she passed on it. I believe that she passed on it because they could not come to an agreement about pay for her, which is a bummer because she's a great actor and she would be cool in a Star Wars movie, but not going to happen. Not going to happen. We got no confirmation on the rumors of Jodie Comer and Jesse Plemons joining the cast. The only confirmed cast member so far is still Ryan Gosling. Steve, what do we think of? I guess we can only really talk about the idea of this film and the title, Star Wars Starfighter. What do we think of the title and just the placement in the timeline and what we know about this so far? Do you have any thoughts?
I think I like the placement in the timeline.
Same.
I think I like the implication of Starfighter that it's focused on non-Jedi stuff and that it's in the world.
Yeah.
You know, I'm excited for the Rey trilogy or the Rey movie or whatever happens in that vein. But I'm glad they're taking a step back from that. Like, I was pumped about Rogue Squadron before that apparently got shelved because that wasn't in the names that were tossed around this weekend either.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it seems like they're touching all the bases of how to keep Star Wars fans happy while not quote unquote triggering enough people that are mad about various things.
Right. Yeah, because if we're talking, 5 years after Rise of Skywalker, we don't really know, like, if Rey is going to end up training a new generation of Jedi. How far along is she after only 5 years?
Right.
I don't know. So, like, if we're talking Jedi, she's maybe the only one still. So I think you're right that it's unlikely to be very Jedi or Force heavy, which I'm very excited about. Do you think the title Star Wars Starfighter is directly a way to, like, kind of replace Rogue Squadron as, like, an idea? Because it's like not a dissimilar title.
No, I think it might be. And I think, you know, if Gosling's playing like a Han Solo style, you know, we don't
know. That my mind goes to that. When I think Ryan Gosling Star Wars, I was like, oh, he's going to be playing like a scoundrel kind of.
With that, the Ryan Gosling smirk and like, 100%.
But he could also be just like a hotshot X-wing pilot or something. You know, he could be a new Republic Ranger or something like that.
So here's me going off the rails into expanded universe land.
Okay.
I would love him to be whatever the canon version of Corran Horn is. Okay. I don't know if that name rings any bells from any of the things you've played.
A very, very distant and faded bell.
So Corran Horn was a Corellian security officer that flew an X-wing for Corsac. He was part of the original X-wing books.
Okay.
Was a starfighter pilot that found out he was Force sensitive.
Okay, cool.
And joined Luke's academy.
Nice.
So inherently, if they found some way to like center the story on, you know, Gosling's character or somebody in the movie, and it may, again, if it makes sense to send them in that direction or whatever, you know, it'd be cool to see. But Horn had a lot of various books that like really expanded the character and turned it into a very deep character, kind of just along the big three as the expanded universe kind of kept going on. So cool. It was it'd be cool to see that in a live action, you know, maybe not the same name or the same, you know,
but a similar story.
But like in that concept, it worked well.
Yeah, cool. Did you find the updates on the other films?
I have not, and I feel like I'm going insane trying to remember that. Like, I can distinctly remember them announcing a number of films that were still in, because they talked definitively about Mando and Grogu.
Yeah, of course. And that's the next one.
And this Star Wars Starfighter, which I believe has a May 27 date on it.
Yeah. We're getting okay. So I just realized when I was writing the rundown for this, that means we're getting a Star Wars film a year for the next 2 years, at least.
Yeah. which is
very
crazy.
Exciting.
And Richard, I see you mentioned we not learn anything about dates without a script. I wonder about that, but they're already talking that they're in production and they're filming this fall.
Somebody, filming has started. Somebody had I can't remember the writer's name, but it was in the article that I linked. So hold on a second. There is a writer that is attached and has been attached. Jonathan Tropper has been working on the script for the last 2 years, but has been under wraps. Is the article that Deadline says. So do not worry. There is at least, I mean, everything's so secretive. We don't know anything about this movie other than the title and the date, and that Sean Levy is directing it and Ryan Gosling is starring in it. So we don't know if the script is done, but like that's not usually like an announcement that they make for movies. But if someone's been working on it for 2 years, I'm hoping that they have the majority of it done, and hopefully it's finished up before they start filming. But Richard, to your point, totally understand it. I think for better or for worse, Lucasfilm has learned to not. I don't know that they've learned to just not announce things, because they seemingly still enjoy announcing things that don't happen or don't happen for a long time. But I believe they've learned their lesson as far as dating things that aren't going to go and starting production on things that aren't ready to start production on. I think they've gotten too tangled up in that past, and I think they have finally learned that lesson. But we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Speaking of that, the films that were confirmed by Star Wars officially were the aforementioned 2, as well as the James Mangold, Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, Taika Waititi, and Simon Kinberg trilogy movies.
Okay.
So 6 total movies on top of Mando and Grogu and Starfighter.
I'm trying to remember if that leaves anything out. I don't think that leaves anything out.
The Ryan
the
Johnson
Lando movie
and the Lando movie, and
I don't think that Ryan Johnson trilogy is happening. I don't think that's ever happening.
I doubt it.
But the Lando project is really something I would love to see, but there has been no talk of that.
Did that move to a TV series, or
no? It moved from a series to a movie.
Okay.
It was going to be a series, and then when the Glover brothers were announced as being the ones writing it, they also announced that it was going to be a movie instead.
You mean the Glover brothers that also wrote Atlanta?
Same. One the same.
Know how to write a TV series, so maybe back to that.
Yeah.
I'm just spitballing here. That'd be great.
At least one half of them, one of the most talented dudes on the planet currently. Yeah. Maybe throw them some money and get that script going.
Yeah,
Kathleen.
That'd be nice.
That'd be nice.
Richard's favorite person in the world, Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah. I'm not gonna go down that path.
Things that we didn't touch on. Mando and Grogu had a bunch of looks, including Ellen Ripley herself.
Right. Yeah, Sigourney Weaver. So cool that she's in a Star Wars movie.
And confirmed that she's an old hotshot fighter pilot. Like,
that is awesome.
That is
I did not expect that at all.
That is the most Sigourney Weaver thing that could have happened. When she said that in the panel, I was like, yeah, that tracks. Well, yeah, okay.
I mean, maybe this is just like my male programming or whatever, but like I hear Sigourney Weaver Star Wars and I pictured her, she's such like a legendary and like regal presence almost. That I assumed I pictured her as like a senator or something, like or like a queen of a planet or whatever.
Yeah,
like
some kind of royalty, career, not like
Yeah, it's just some kind of royalty, because I look at her as like Hollywood royalty or film royalty or whatever. So that's where my brain went. But then I read that she's a retired hotshot pilot, and I was like, oh, that's awesome too, because that's kind of like,
I don't know if Filoni wanted her to say that, or Favreau, who was in the panel with her. I don't know if anyone wanted her to say that. But
too bad. Yeah, too late. We know, and we're excited about it.
Oh, it was hilarious watching her talk around things. Of like stuff she knew she couldn't let out, and it was just like, well, I'm like, yep, that's the answer you cannot give. So
yeah. Yeah.
She'd continually look over at Favreau like, maybe? No? Okay.
Yeah. What was I say? Oh, I believe it was also confirmed that there will be 2 characters that will be in the Mandalorian and Grogu film. You know what I'm talking about, Steve?
The Mandalorian and Grogu?
I'm pretty sure that they confirmed those 2 a long time ago.
They did.
I believe that Zeb.
Yep, Gareth Zebarelios from Rebels.
And BD1, the droid from the Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor games, will both be in Mandalorian and Grogu.
Seems odd,
Zeb,
but hey.
Zeb makes perfect sense.
Right.
Because we've seen all the other Rebels crew in Ahsoka.
Yeah.
And my guess is that a number of them will be in this movie as well.
Oh, I'd assume.
But BD1, we've only seen in those video games. And Steve, you said like something like, well, that's got to mean that Cal Kestis is going to be in it too. And I was like, I don't think it definitely means that. I think it's possible that he could show up, but
I think it would behoove Lucasfilm to utilize the fact that Cameron Monaghan. Dominic Monaghan is Pippin or Mary. No, Pippin in
No, he's Mary.
No, he's Mary.
He's Mary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Lord of the Rings, which I just
He's also dumb,
he's
annoying resistance guy.
Yes, he is.
In Rise of Skywalker. Yeah.
Yeah. Cameron Monaghan is Cal Kestis. He does the voice work, the mocap, and he's the likeness of it in the Jedi series of games. Like, you have him, he's an actor, just use him. Like, you'd think they'd want to capitalize on that, but
you'd think they would. I am of 2 minds about that, because I do think it would be cool to have a character that originated in a video game that, like you said, it's the likeness, it's the actor's likeness, so they could easily just show up, and it'll just look exactly like the character. Like, that's
if he
cool.
showed up, that's who you're playing.
Yeah, but also on Jedi Survivor specifically, the character is like so overpowered. By the end of that game, you can basically fly, which is just kind of crazy. Like, people can play like, oh, Rey is so overpowered. Oh, really? Are you going to say that same thing when Cameron Monaghan shows up and starts like dashing around and, doing all this crazy Force stuff that we've never seen anybody do in a movie and works fine in a video game, because that's what a video game is supposed to level up during a video game. That's what happens.
Well,
but that not necessarily work for movies.
We'll talk more about Sam Witwer later, but the original Star Wars voice that he did was for The Force Unleashed, the video games back in the day, which were
really?
Yeah, Galen Starkiller, who was Darth Vader's apprentice. If you want to see ridiculously stupid, overpowered Jedi shit, go play those games again, because he's like pulling down Star Destroyers and like it was way over the top, awesome games. But towards the end of the Jedi games, you're getting like on the verge of that level of ridiculousness.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm just hoping that if they do utilize him, they pull back his power set a little bit to something that makes a little more sense in the movies. And of course, that would be a bunch of like video game nerds being like, but why didn't he just do this and that? Because it would make it a shitty movie if they did that.
And it's probably one of those, in all honesty, like, the way I headcanon that sort of shit is like, all right, this is you're playing a tall tale of what this Jedi did.
Yeah.
Of like some other recount of what happened or whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like, and same thing with like Rebels and animation. Like, you can see them do crazy cooler stuff than what you can do in live action.
Yeah.
And
but also, sorry.
I was just gonna say, and like that's fine. Like, you're looking at a retelling of what was going on. Bob, who can't get off his couch, is like looking at what these Jedi are doing a little differently than their fellow members of the Order.
Right. Also, keep in mind that Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor take place before A New Hope.
Right.
And this movie would take place 10-ish years after Return of the Jedi, right? Because Mandalorian season 1 is like 5 years after Return of the Jedi, but there's been 2 seasons and some time has passed. So I'm guessing 10-ish. So he would have to be aged up a little bit, I would think.
Yeah.
As far as how he looks. So.
Yep.
Or maybe he's dead and he's not going to be in it, but that's why BD1 is still around. BD1 can be in it, and maybe Cal Kestis is gone already. Who knows?
Now, in the same vein, there was a lot of Ahsoka talk as well, including the first image we got of Rory McCann filling in for the late.
Did we get that? I didn't see that either. Jeez.
Yeah, we did. And it looks good. And McCann, Filoni talked for a good bit about McCann and how he's filling in and what's going on there and how it all went down. And it's actually a real good interview if you go back and listen to it. Of
oh man, okay, I'll have to go check that out.
Yeah, so it was him, Rosario Dawson. I can't remember who else, but there was a good couple of panels talking about that. But we did also get confirmation that Ahsoka is greenlit and coming out, I think, next year.
I think Filoni said that they're going to start it right after Celebration was over.
Yeah.
Like they're starting it soon, I believe.
Like late 26 was what they were shooting for, type thing.
Makes sense. I mean, okay, yeah. I just didn't know if it's got anything to do with the Mando and Grogu.
Oh, Hayden was the other person on that panel.
Yes, Hayden
Christensen. I was like, my brain was like, who else was there? Yeah.
He was there confirming that he will reprise his role of Anakin.
Which I still absolutely love every time they have a celebration. The sheer, the sheer reaction he gets.
Yeah.
Like it's come full circle, and I am so glad for him that he's getting the recognition from the Star Wars fandom that he deserves.
I agree. Speaking of that, I saw a great clip of Ahmed Best at Celebration talking candidly about toxic fan backlash and what happened to him versus what happened to Moses Ingram on Obi-Wan, or whoever
Rose
else.
Tico,
Kelly Marie Tran, Daisy Ridley, just like all these other
John Boyega.
And it was a really good speech kind of gave in response to a question, I think. So you can check that out as well. And speaking of series, we got an announcement of a new animated series.
We did.
It's currently in development that I am very excited about. And we probably should have known this was coming because Bad Batch wrapped up, and I feel like there's usually like an animated series going as long, we get a couple live action stuff, but animated stuff has been big for Star Wars for a long time. And if Bad Batch is over, then what's going to be the next one? And the next one is called Maul Shadow Lord. It's a series featuring fan favorite character Darth Maul, also just known as Maul. We'll focus on his journey after escaping arrest at the end of the Clone Wars series. This will see the return of Sam Witwer as the voice of Maul. And he had this to say about the series, quote, "This is a year after the Clone Wars. You have a situation where everyone got destroyed by the clones, and Maul's organization didn't really hold under that pressure. He still has a group with him, but it's not like it was. So it was devastating in that way. Everyone is very afraid. Everyone is very uncertain. But he is watching an empire that he knew was coming, but he wasn't thinking it was going to be like this. He was in on his master's plan, but only partially." And then Whitwer went on to add that the series may be a little bit darker than what we've seen before in Star Wars animation, saying they'll be, quote, "going a little bit further than we've gone before. It's a little bit more dangerous in the way that it looks and sounds and feels." Which makes sense.
Yeah.
We're making a show about merciless Darth Maul.
And this, by the timeline and what they're talking about, I'd assume ties in with what we saw at the end of Solo, with him at the head of Crimson Dawn.
Yes, because when does Solo take place?
Solo takes place in between 3 and 4.
I thought I saw something that said Solo took place before Revenge of the Sith.
13 years after Revenge of the Sith, 6 years before A New Hope.
Okay, that makes more sense to me. And yes, that's what I was hoping. I want to see Maul, you know, rise to the top of the Crimson Dawn organization.
Yeah.
Like I want to see Kira come back. I want to see all this stuff. Kira, pretty big role in Star Wars Outlaws, by the way.
Oh yeah.
When you're working with Crimson Dawn, you get to meet up with Kira a few times.
I gotta wait till that. I gotta find that on a Steam sale or something at one of these points.
Yeah, dude, you do. Great. So yeah, what do we think about Maul Shadow Lord?
You had me at Maul.
Yeah.
Like Sam Witwer as Maul, I'll watch all day.
The only thing I can think that is negative about this is that when you design a series around a fan favorite character like this, one, you risk oversaturation with that character not feeling as special anymore, as we found out with a character like Boba Fett. Turns out there's not a whole lot there to explore. But Darth Maul, I think there is a lot to explore with his character. But there's expectations that come with a big character like that, you know? I think part of the reason that I love Rebels so much and loved it from, pretty much the first episode, is that these are all new characters just in a world that I love. I love the world. I love how they are utilizing this world and its rules, but I don't have any expectations for any of these characters. I am learning who they are for the first time. Tell me this is a Maul show. Everyone's going to be going in with like the classic Star Wars, this is what I want out of this, and this is what I think this character should do and act. And, like, that's like the danger that you get. Like, how excited were we for the Book of Boba Fett? And then it turned out like, oh, they're ruining this.
Yeah, but for one, animation they've knocked out of the park.
Very true.
For two, there was confirmation in the panel that a lot of this is born out of ideas Sam Witwer had when they were recording the Rebel stuff.
Yes.
And the Clone Wars stuff. So
I heard that.
Those two things are making me very, very excited for this. Like,
I'm very excited for it.
Yeah, but like that it's coming from the creatives themselves and not just like scripted and sent to somebody. Like that seems to me like, okay, we're birthing something that's going to have legs.
Yes, I agree.
And the fact that it hits from 6 to 2 BBY, I think 2 BBY is when he died. Spoiler alert. In Twin Sons and Rebels, which if you haven't seen that, I apologize in advance, in hindsight. But that episode of Rebels, like that's another one of those that just goes down as like, holy hell, how did they do that in animation?
I just started rewatching Rebels with my son, and I could watch that show any time of day, any day of the week, at any point. I love that show. I love it so much.
It's such a good show. And actually, I will plug it again. I've said it on the pod a couple of times. Not to plug other podcasts, but go check out Pod of Rebellion. It is Sabine, Tia Sircar,
that's right.
Ezra, Taylor Gray, and Vanessa Marshall, who plays Hera, discussing each episode of Rebels. Like they're doing a full series walkthrough.
Yeah, and I do have to start.
It's great.
Listening to that. What is it called again?
Pod of Rebellion.
Pod of Rebellion.
The latest episode was with Dante Basco, who plays Rufio in Hook.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you mentioned that.
But he's one of the voice act. He was like a guest voice actor in the first. It was like episode 5 where Ezra infiltrates one of the Imperial academies. He's a cadet. He was like the other cadet that was talking to Taylor Gray. And so I got a pod with Hera, Sabine, Ezra, and Rufio.
That's awesome.
I was like, all right, cool. There's a good chunk of my childhood and young adulthood right there.
That's awesome. Speaking of Star Wars animation, we got an announcement that Star Wars Visions is coming back for a 3rd season, debuting on Disney Plus October 29th, 2025. Also, an announcement of a long-form spin-off of one episode of Star Wars Visions from season 1 called The Ninth Jedi is in the works from the same creative team that made that short. Now, I remember The Ninth Jedi is one of the cooler ones I remember. I haven't finished season. I don't know where I am in Star Wars Visions. I don't remember because it's not a thing that I sit down and like watch all of. It's like if I don't have anything else to watch, I'll throw on an episode of Star Wars Visions because we've talked about it in the past. We don't have to rehash it. It's not like fully our cup of tea. I do love that it exists, and I love that it's getting this many episodes because I like seeing cool new takes on stuff.
Yeah, it's very much gotten me to want to look into some of those media. Like some of those animation styles, and I think we've waxed poetic on that a couple times in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. The Ninth Jedi was an episode where the idea of kyber crystals changing color based on the way the user is utilizing the Force. So if you decide to turn bad, your lightsaber will just turn red, which is cool. And that the spin-off is going to kind of dive into that question, like, how do these lightsabers exist this way? Why? What is the purpose of, like, who created them and what is their purpose? Things like that. So that's pretty cool. I'll probably dig that.
Oh, absolutely.
And this is not from Star Wars Celebration, but it's news that broke.
While we're still on Star Wars Celebration, I did forget something. It popped into my brain from Ahsoka Season 2.
Okay.
Do you know who they confirmed will be coming back for Ahsoka Season 2?
Like a character from Ahsoka Season 1?
No, a character from Star Wars Past.
A character from Star Wars Past will be coming to Ahsoka Season 2. Have they been in a series before?
They have not been in a series before. They
This
were
is a
in the
film
original
character.
trilogy.
An original trilogy character.
Yep, and they
is
are
coming back
facing
for
off
Ahsoka
against one Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Facing off an original trilogy character. Oh, yeah.
Admiral Gail Akbar will
Admiral
be
Akbar.
back.
Yeah, that's right.
For Ahsoka Season 2.
That's very
This
cool.
is not a trap. He will be back. This is just, it's amazing.
And I believe Admiral Raddus will also be in.
Yeah, it was either Ahsoka Season 2 or something else. They confirmed Raddus is back for too, yeah.
Oh, I thought it was 2. Oh, maybe it's Andor. Maybe Raddus is in Andor.
That's what it was. Yep, Raddus is in Andor and Akbar is in Ahsoka 2. So
that's awesome.
Your Mon Calamari are returning to the big screen.
Okay, because Ahsoka takes place in the same timeline as Mandalorian. So it's pre-sequel trilogy. Wow.
So
that's awesome. That makes me excited.
And they did confirm that Filoni said in the panel, he's like, a good chunk of this is space battles and Thrawn against Akbar, because I mean that's cool. Thrawn's thing. Like, yeah. So yeah, hey, I'm in for it.
Cool. I'm definitely down for that.
Give me more space battles any day of the week.
Yeah. News that broke today, reported by Jeff Snyder of the Hot Mic podcast. Again, Star Wars news, but not from Celebration. Father and son writers Carlton Cuse and Nick Cuse are in early development on a new Star Wars series for Disney+. Carlton Cuse, you may know, being the co-showrunner of Lost with Damon Lindelof. He was also the writer and showrunner of the first 2 seasons of Amazon's Jack Ryan series. Nick Cuse has been a producer on Masters of Air and Stations 11. He's also worked with Damon Lindelof on Watchmen and The Leftovers. I'm not sure in what capacity, maybe as a writer.
All right.
Obviously, there's no other information on this. They're in early development on a series. There's no plot. There's no title. There's no nothing that we know of. I'm sure there's a title somewhere, but not in front of my eyeballs right now. So I don't know what this is. I don't even know what I want it to be, but it's happening.
Right.
They seem to be accomplished. I mean, Carlton Cuse, he said some. He got pretty defensive when people called out the working conditions on Lost. I think there was some expose on like how people were treated on the sets of Lost, and he was like, "Well, blah, 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 not my fault." Blah, blah, blah. Some grumpy old man shit. But doesn't mean he's not a good writer. I don't know. Yeah. So I'm down for this. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what I want it to be. I guess if I had to pick something, I would say I would like it to be set somewhere other than in the same timeline as like Mandalorian and Ahsoka. I feel like they're doing a lot like Skeleton Crew, Ahsoka, Mandalorian. Those are all like in the same timeline. Like, give me something future, or give me something in the past, or just something that's not related to those things.
Well, that's in the chat. Richard mentioned like something in the KOTOR era, or like any sort of Old Republic, like something that isn't, like you're saying, something that isn't in the modern era. Like if they use that as use the series as a jumping off point for diving into that end of things.
Yeah. Or more like, between prequel and sequel trilogy or something, like a transitional. I guess we've seen like Bad Batch and stuff did that.
Right. I was gonna say animation's kind of covering that pretty.
Yeah.
Pretty
between
good.
Bad Batch and Rebels, that's kind of like, and Andor
and Mando and Grogu and Andor and no.
Well,
sorry,
Mando and Grogu
Grogu's
is post.
the other.
Yeah. Other end. But I don't know. I'm sure.
Rogue One.
That's why Star Wars is so great, because there's so many different ways 100%. To tell stories and timelines to set stories and stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
That's all I got for Star Wars. But guess what? I have a comic to review.
Oh wow, you're allowed to do that?
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? The comic that I'm reviewing. Do you have a comic to review, by the way?
No? Yes and no.
Guessing by your reaction.
I'll talk about some, but I don't have any official review.
All right. I'm going to be quick because I know we still have to talk about the season finale of Daredevil at the end of this, and we're already at an hour. So
hey, we're at 56 minutes, Mike. We got 4 minutes till an hour.
Oh, then I'll stretch this shit out.
Absolutely.
My comic that I'm reviewing is Absolute Flash #2 from DC's All-In Initiative. The Absolute series has been nothing but gangbusters for DC. And I read Absolute Flash #1. I liked it quite a bit. I read Absolute Flash #2, and I like it even more. I feel like Absolute Flash is the one book that personally I haven't heard. Well, I guess Absolute Flash and Absolute Green Lantern, I haven't heard too much like praise or like love for. Although I've read both of those and I thought they were both very good. Like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Martian Manhunter, are like super hype and deserved from all.
I feel like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman were all like popping off pretty good together, and then Martian Manhunter dropped, and that was like a holy shit, this is amazing.
Yeah, and then Martian Manhunter is exceptional.
I think Flash and Green Lantern kind of got, because they came out in that second wave, I think they might have gotten a little overshadowed.
But here's the thing about both Flash and Green Lantern. I think you get more. At least I haven't read Superman and Wonder Woman, but I've read Batman and Martian Manhunter. And from those two, you got more of a sense of the character just in the one issue. Maybe a little less in Martian Manhunter, but Martian Manhunter was just so good,
right,
that it was like, I'm in. With Flash, you kind of need to read both these first issues to get like oh, okay, I see this, because the way that they are developing the character of Wally West, he's a kid. It's told non-linearly because he is experiencing his powers and he's not in control of his powers, and they're setting him up kind of. Is it like something I've always thought about the Flash? I remember I was trying to write a song about the Flash years ago, and I was like, his powers would be insane to control. Like, it's how do you not just like, you have to be so frustrated with the world, like in your brain everything's so fast and you have to like slow yourself down to even have a conversation with somebody else. Like it should be impossible for you to exist. And that's what this kind of is. They are like, they're showing Wally as just like a being of pure energy at some points. Like, I can't control this. I don't know what's happening to me. That was a great double page splash at the beginning of it where he says, "Leave me alone," and just like crazy lightning going everywhere.
Yeah.
They are setting him up as a Dr. Manhattan like figure, not in power set, but in I am seeing all possibilities and all histories.
Yeah.
At the same time, I am talking to my dad this morning. I am running away from these villains right now, and I am seeing that tomorrow I'm going to be doing this. Whatever. Like, he is seeing all times and timelines in a way that I've only ever really experienced from Dr. Manhattan before. The art is really great, like explosive. Those two things I showed you, just really cool. and they're doing some cool twists with the classic. Flash is known for having a great rogues gallery as well.
Yeah.
They're doing some cool twists on those characters too.
Nice.
Which really makes it feel like a Flash book, and it's cool that it's Wally West. Barry Allen is in it as well, but in a very different kind of way. That is not really, you're experiencing. You've seen Barry Allen alive and you've seen him dead. Spoiler alert. But you don't know where in the timeline is this happening, because Wally doesn't know where he is in the timeline. Sometimes it's like it's seemingly a confusing book, but it's like putting you in the shoes of the character, not knowing what's happening, not knowing where or when he's going to kind of wake up next. It's really great. I highly recommend Absolute Flash as a series if you're a fan of that character or you want to become a fan of the Flash. Absolute Flash is a great place to start.
So it's funny, on the flip side, this week I caught up on the Ultimate stuff. Weirdly, I think all of my big two pulls are either Absolutes or Ultimates.
Ultimates, yeah.
No, I lied. Batgirl.
Batgirl, I was gonna say, yeah.
That is the only non-alternate universe pull that I have currently.
I read an issue of Birds of Prey, the most recent issue of Birds of Prey this week too, that featured Cass in it a lot, and I was like, man, she's just so damn cool. It made me like, I know it's like a different writer and a different team, but the issue of Birds of Prey made me want to read the Batgirl series that you've been raving about for so long. I was like, she's just so damn cool. Yep. I want more of her. Yeah.
But I caught up on Ultimate Spider-Man, which is somehow still cooking. Like, Hickman's still got it 15 issues in.
Man,
usually, sometimes you see like these alternate timeline things peter out at this point
goes
or
off
whatever.
The rails a little bit.
Peter's son is wearing the symbiote suit.
Whoa, damn.
Yeah, like we're in weird territory, man.
Yeah,
there's all sorts of stuff going on.
That's what Ultimate Universe is for.
And it's all well executed, which is sometimes you start going into alternate timelines and things go wonky.
Yep.
Like everything is being well executed. Right. It's like, okay, cool. Like, I'll take it. I did also catch up on Ultimate Wolverine, which I was a couple issues behind on. It is a different take on the Wolverine story and a different take because Wolverine is the Winter Soldier.
Right.
So it's not the normal Wolverine story, but it's also not your normal Winter Soldier story. So they've done a good job of not just like taking Wolverine and making him Bucky.
Cool.
So both are solid. Wolverine is on issue 4, so a couple months the trade will come out. I would highly recommend grabbing that for whoever's listening that's interested. And Spider-Man is still somehow just cooking with gas. So
awesome. Good to hear. This week in your local comic book store, including Funky Town Comics and Vinyl, you may find the aforementioned Absolute Martian Manhunter #2, Amazing Spider-Man #2, Avengers 25, Batman 159. I believe that's the continuation of the Hush 2 storyline.
Yep.
Deadpool Wolverine #4, Eddie Brock Carnage #3. Lots of issue 4s this week.
Yeah.
Flash #20, G.I. Joe #6, Green Arrow #23, Green Lantern Dark #4, Harley Quinn #50, Human Fly #4, Justice League Unlimited #6, Magic #4, Masters of the Universe, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Team Up, Turtles of Grayskull #4. #4, I have not heard of this series at all. How have I gone for? How is this #4? It's the first time I'm hearing of a Motu TMNT crossover.
Yeah,
I know that. Crazy. Metamorpho the Element Man #5, New Champions #4, One World Under Doom #3, Peacemaker presents Vigilante Eagly double feature #2, Power Girl #20, Predator versus Spider-Man. Predator versus Spider-Man #1.
Okay.
Superman #25, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Saturday Morning Adventures something that I didn't write down, Universal Monsters The Mummy. Okay. Universal Monsters The Mummy #2, X-Force #10, and X-Men 15. Predator versus Spider-Man has just got to be like, it's like a Kraven story, just with Predator instead of Kraven.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Like, that's
so it's alien tech. Yeah.
Right. Like, Spider-Man's done that a lot of times. I'd assume that art will be pretty damn cool, but
I assume it's a cool pair up, cool pairing, I think. But Spider-Man, he's been hunted before, so he knows.
Yeah, well, that was like the Predator versus Wolverine.
Yeah.
I was just like, when I thought about that, I was just like, so Sabretooth? Like, we've seen this a time or two?
Right, yeah.
Like Sabretooth with alien tech? Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I'm definitely pulling Absolute Martian Batman. Hush, because I thought the first issue was cool. And I'm not sure on Peacemaker Vigilante Eagle double feature. That was fun, but I don't know if I'm gonna be pulling it regularly. I think that's just those two.
You know what I might be grabbing?
What's that?
Metamorpho.
Really?
Because I have 1 through 4.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Blame
Why
Mike.
do you have 1 through 4?
Well, blame Mike at the shop.
Oh, he's talking you into it?
Yeah.
I remember I reviewed issue 1.
All of my friends named Mike apparently are converting me to DC books.
Yeah. I read issue 1. I think I reviewed it for the show. Good. Yeah. It was cool. It was fun. Yeah. It wasn't like it was like purposely fun and not too. It was like a little bit. It was like light. Yeah. You know, it wasn't like dark and broody and gritty or whatever. It was like fun and light comic stuff. Ooh, and there was like a James Gunn released a behind the scenes thing of Superman. Oh, because it was Superman Day this past week too. I think Friday was Superman Day, is the anniversary of the Action Comics #1, and they put out like a behind the scenes look at Superman. There's this one shot of Metamorpho. He looked awesome. Like in the trailer, you only saw his face, but you got to see his full like purple and orange body. It was great. It was so cool. Well, cool. Yeah, let me know. Let me know how Metamorpho goes. Yeah, because like I said, I thought it was good. That was cool. Are we ready to talk about our Daredevil Care Level?
I think we are. And spoiler alert, it's going to be high.
Fairly high.
For anyone who is not willing to pass the friendly neighborhood spoiler warning banner, we are going to start spoiling this momentarily. Before you leave us, please feel free to like, subscribe, so you know when we're going live on YouTube, as some of you are talking to us and hearing us now. Otherwise, feel free to listen on your podcatcher of choice. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. A 5-star review with a recipe will get you probably nothing, but we're going to try and cook some stuff and eat it on air for you. Unless it's like the most complex cookie recipe.
Most complicated cookie recipe in the history of cookie recipes. Yeah.
So beyond that, check us out at any of the socials, the Multiverse Report, and I think that's about it.
That's right. So if you have not seen the finale of Daredevil Born Again, should be jumping right now. If you have seen it and you're ready to get it spoiled for you, you can listen in 3, 2, 1. Friendly neighborhood spoiler alert. So was this the finale of Daredevil Born Again, or was it the first episode of The Punisher?
All of the above. Because
Punisher
for anyone who doesn't
heavy.
know, very Punisher heavy. For anyone who doesn't know, the bridge between season 1 and 2 of Daredevil is going to be a Punisher one-shot, like they did with Werewolf by Night. So yeah, they
definitely set that up big time. Yeah. Like this, over the course of this episode's runtime, it transitioned from a Daredevil show to a Punisher show. The back half of the episode was so Punisher focused, and
the post-credit
it definitely.
Scene. Yep.
What's that?
I said, and the mid-credit scene.
Yeah, exactly. It was kind of like what you and I were speculating last week.
Yeah.
That it wasn't a hard ending. It definitely was a setup for season 2. They did not tie everything up. It was more like, it was less tying up loose ends and more like escalating to like a kind of a cliffhanger.
Right. You know? Which we had kind of speculated that maybe they tie up the Bullseye storyline. And then the day after we said that, they released leaked set photos from season 2 filming.
I saw the headline. I didn't I didn't look at the pictures. But I saw
the only leaks were the costumes of, and at this point, since we know he survived, the costume, it was Daredevil and Bullseye in costume, and it was the classic Bullseye, like with the Bullseye logo on his head type costume. I was like, yeah, that's. So.
What happened to Bullseye in this episode? I don't remember what happened to him.
I don't know.
Just shoot Fisk and get away?
I think so. Like, if I'm remembering right, there was so much that happened in this episode that I'm like, and again,
I feel like I barely remember
Tuesday.
him being in the Yeah, I feel like I barely remember him being in the episode at all. He was in the beginning,
and that was it.
Yeah. So. Okay, so he just got away. All right, that's fine. Too much else to deal with.
He got away, unlike Swordsman and Frank Castle.
Yeah, that's right. Swordsman's in a cage with Frank at the end there. Yeah. Wild.
Although I don't think Swordsman is breaking anyone's arms well in a cage.
No. But that was cool to see because they set up. Oh man, how great was the scene where Punisher? By the way, everybody that Punisher murders in this episode is a police officer.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
By the way, yeah.
Every one of them.
I don't know if that'll change the amount of people wearing Blue Lives Matter Punisher logos, but
nope.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it will, because those people don't read the comics. Those people watch movies. Those people watch TV shows.
Yeah,
they watch the MCU. They're the people. They're not people that read the comics. But I do have. Where is it? I can't get it. I'm going to show you a sticker that I have. That's very relevant. There it is.
Simple yet effective.
Yep. I bought 10 of these. I saw someone who was like homemade stickers. They just made them on Etsy or whatever, and they were selling them super cheap. I was like, I'll buy 10 of those.
Right.
It says the Punisher hates cops, you dumb fuck.
Yeah. Which Frank Castiglione basically says in this episode to a bunch of cops.
Yeah. When he's zip tied to a chair and they wake him up and he's like, that one corrupt cop leader, he's like, we'd love to work with you, Frank. You come, we can do this together. We really look up to you or whatever. And he's like, you look up to me. Who you think I am? Who you think think you know me? Great. It's so great.
Oh yeah.
And then they just started beating the shit out of him.
Right.
But he's okay because he's in a cage at the end. But then he understands like, oh, this guy probably
thinks I'm the next coming of God of some sort.
Guy wants to kiss my ass or whatever.
Right.
So if I act friendly to him, he'll treat me like a celebrity, and it worked. And he's breaking out of his little cage. I loved. Speaking of Punisher, the reveal of Punisher in the episode and how it was Matt escaping the hospital.
Yeah.
Knowing that he, one, had to get out of there, and two, that someone was probably going to come and kill him, and which was true. Escaping the hospital is one great shot of him walking into his apartment, walking over to the couch, collapsing, taking a beat, and saying something like, "What are you doing here, Frank?" Yeah. And the camera pans up, and he's standing over there. So cool. And like their conversation in that scene, their back and forth, I was like, this is comic book dialogue.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
But
I could see that panel by panel what was going on.
Yep.
Yeah.
And again, like it's like I said when those in episodes 6 and 7, when he put the costume back on, there was like a change of like, it just felt like comic booky, like, Fisk, like, oh no, I'm gonna stop that Daredevil.
Right.
And this episode was kind of the same, where their dialogue was it could have been campy, and maybe it was a little bit because it felt like comic booky, but like it's being executed by two great actors who like understand the characters, understand the relationship. They're not pulling any punches with their delivery or with like the dialogue itself. They're like in it. I was like, this is awesome. And then that fight scene was wildly good. Wildly good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Intense. Very gross, very bloody. And it was cool because it's Daredevil trying not to kill people, and Punisher killing people. Like,
oh yeah.
He couldn't stop Frank from being Frank. He yelled at him a couple times, but he couldn't stop it.
Right, and Frank couldn't stop Matt from being Matt. Like,
yeah,
it was.
But they also didn't get in each other's way. They didn't
Right.
really try too hard to stop each other.
Oh, like Matt fully knows Frank is going
together.
to. Yeah, Matt fully knows Frank is going to just shoot the shit out of every one of those guys, but he's not going to be the one to pull the trigger.
Right. Yeah. Very cool fight scene. I immediately knew that it was Karen.
Yep.
There were, someone called me and said to look out for you. So clearly she has got that relationship with Frank. Then we got that cool little
that was
beat afterwards.
No, and they had that's probably what you're talking about, where they addressed it like a couple minutes after, where it was like, the whole Frank and Karen and Matt, like the whole thing was just like subtle and then not subtle and then just like beat it over the head, and it's like, okay, not
because they never like Frank and Karen never like officially hooked up or anything, right? There was just like very heavily hinted that they may have feelings for each other that were started as a friendship and then maybe got escalated a little bit,
right? And then after they're talking about Frank, he says something about it was like, oh wait, she has feelings for Matt too.
Yeah, they're looking for that file, and she's like, did you hear my heartbeat when
must be the adrenaline.
Probably must be the adrenaline. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that was great. And then Fisk wielding his Fisk crushing somebody's head violently.
Fisk in the 1990s Kingpin suit crushing the commissioner of police's head, and not like cartoonishly crushing it. Like, it wasn't the like push on. It wasn't the the Red Viper in Game of Thrones or something where like his head explodes. It's just like
exploded like in Scanners or something.
Right.
It's not
like he's pushing on it and then his jaw gives way and just fucking snaps off, and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, that was wild.
It's just
that
brutal.
shot was wild.
D'Onofrio's face when that happens, and like he wipes the sweat and doesn't worry about the blood. And just he has this look on his face that's just like, holy shit, you are perfect for this role.
Yeah, crushing it.
Yeah. Crushing it, literally, like his face.
Yeah, literally. And just him wielding all his power at the end, being like, the city's under martial law, and giving orders.
We're in that Zdarsky run.
Yeah. I also liked the inevitable and final corruption of that one staffer whose name I don't remember, but she finally gives in and but she knows. She knows. She's like, this guy's gonna die. She's like crying. She's like, this guy's gonna die because I am giving him tape, or because I taped this conversation and gave it to him. Like, I am killing this guy.
Yeah.
And she's right. She did. But she's in it now.
So,
but she's also going to be somebody that maybe Matt can lean on in season 2.
Yeah, pull into the fold and
push on her conscience a little bit and get her to give some information.
So for season 2, we're kind of setting up like Zdarsky's run into Devil's Reign that they did in the comics. The end of Devil's Reign, Luke Cage is mayor of New York.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
Do we?
Well, yeah, that's like I think that's.
Do we go there? Do we bring the band back? Do we get the band back together, Mike?
Well, because what's is it the last thing that Daredevil says when he's talking to Karen? I think the last thing he says is that we're going to need an army.
Yeah.
Doesn't he say that? Something like that? So that's the first thing I thought when he said we're going to need an army.
Defenders coming back.
Jones, you got Luke Cage. Maybe you got Iron Fist.
Maybe
you got Misty Knight.
This friendly neighborhood Spider-Man from Born Again, or Brand New Day.
That'd be cool. That's not. I don't think that's gonna happen.
No, not
That'd
at all.
Great.
I just all I want to see. That's all I want to see.
I want that so bad.
Yeah, like Spider-Man versus Kingpin, and like Spider-Man and Daredevil fighting Kingpin. How awesome would that be?
Well, you know what? I read Vincent D'Onofrio was in the last couple of weeks asked about him being in a Spider-Man movie or being in a Avengers. If it was after the Avengers Doomsday cast announcement with the chairs and everything, and apparently he said contractually, he said, unfortunately, contractually, my character is only allowed to be in TV series right now. Which is got to be part of the Sony deal.
Yeah.
Right? It's got to be part of, Kingpin must be like a Spider-Man character and part of that deal.
Yep.
I don't know that Tom Holland can't show up in a Marvel series. It would be great if he did, but will Sony let that happen? Sony's got Spider-Man, so Sony would have to sign off on that. But man, yeah, I would love that. I would love Spider-Man, Punisher, and Daredevil.
Yep.
All working together. With Jessica Jones and Luke Cage and Iron Fist. Like,
give me the full-blown, every New York City street level guy.
Yeah.
Like, just
full
send.
Want it. Yes.
Yep.
So that'd be cool. And we'll see. We'll see what happens. And I think I read that they're shooting for season 2 to be done about the same time next year, about the same time, March 2026. So hopefully that happens. They're filming it right now. I can't think if there's anything else to touch on, really.
Nothing off the top.
Yeah.
Just how fucking brutal that was. Like, when we were wondering whether Disney would go there, Disney went there.
Yeah.
Like, I still stand by my fact that it's probably, I think at the beginning of the year I said it was going to be, or at the beginning of the season I said it was going to be like 85% of the Netflix show, and I think it still holds to that. Like 85 to 90% of the Netflix show, as far as grit and violence and raw.
Yeah. But they did a good job at matching. They definitely did a good job at matching the tone of the Netflix
100%.
show.
It was,
whether or not it was always there, or they maybe, like I said, it was a little bit more comic booky at some points in ways that I liked. I liked.
It was as good as Disney could have done that.
Yeah, I agree.
Which
I think it was as good as anybody ever. Like, after however many 8 years or whatever it's been since that last one. Like
that.
Yeah, for sure. Even if it was still at Netflix and they were like, okay, we're gonna do one more season. Like, if they had come this close to matching the tone, then they did a great job. Like, it's like hard for me to believe that this show was as good as it was.
Yeah,
because I really didn't think it was going to be anywhere close to as good as it is. I didn't think it was going to be anywhere close to the Netflix show. I didn't think it was going to be, I had little faith in Daredevil Born Again.
Oh yeah,
and it was great. It turned out to be great.
I was hoping against hope that it would be good, and it was.
Yeah, they had a high bar to clear, and they cleared it.
Yep.
In my eyes, I'm not saying it's better than the Netflix show, but I also haven't watched every episode of the Netflix show in the last 8 years or whatever. So, who knows? Right. But for me,
I mean, you also have the like you're saying, you've got the nostalgia. You've got like what you remember the Netflix show to be, not what the Netflix show was.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm down. I'm down for more Daredevil Born Again. My Daredevil Care Level ended pretty high. Like, I wish that it had wrapped up a little bit more stuff, but like, I don't know what it would have wrapped up. I got a lot of cool Punisher stuff, and that was fine. I
guess the fact that they left all of the, like, everything was open.
Yes, exactly.
They didn't tie up any of the loose ends.
But they can't really, because it's kind of all tied together at this point.
Right.
I think all one big thing.
I think I would be more confused had we not known that it was all one season originally.
Yeah, yes.
So.
Yep. But also knowing that they're already filming 2, and 2 is going to be out next year. So, like, we don't have to wait 5 years between seasons like some other prestige dramas or whatever.
Yep.
So, yeah, I liked it a lot. I am not shocked, but I am surprised at, the society has changed what I think of when I see a Punisher logo on the back of somebody's car or whatever. If I see an out of context Punisher logo, like my brain thinks a certain thing, which has caused me to drift away from that character in general because of the stigma or whatever that is surrounded. Like, I don't want to be like seen as supporting, whatever.
Right.
But goddamn, do I love that character. And I forget how much I love that character until he shows up on screen in Daredevil. And I'm like, fuck yeah, I love Frank Castle as a great character, damaged, insane murderer. But like, I like that as a comic book character, as a counterpart to heroes like Spider-Man and Daredevil that aren't killing anybody, but like that's why he's cool. And he's, Punisher series, the Punisher show was great at its own thing, but I really like the Punisher when he is standing not in opposition to, but like in contrast to a character like Daredevil. When he's a side character in somebody else's show that, Daredevil has to put up with the Punisher.
Yeah.
Or Spider-Man has to figure out how to work with the Punisher.
Yep.
That's the shit I love. That's the shit I love. And this show really nailed that in a way that made me like remember how much I love that character.
Yeah. And that's always the thing, is like that character, when done right, is just
right.
He's the definition, and it's a lost definition because people call characters anti-heroes all the time.
Yeah.
Frank Castle is the literal definition of an anti-hero.
Absolute anti-hero.
Like, he is doing the right things for all the relatively right reasons in the wrong way.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, all he's doing is getting revenge for his family on all these bastards.
Yeah.
That are, that probably deserve it. But you can't just do that. But Frank does.
But he's also makes him a murderer and a criminal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
Yeah. He is an anti-hero.
Yeah. I'm so excited
people are trying to call Logan an anti-hero.
Yeah, he's a hero.
Yeah, Wolverine is a hero.
Well, he's on the X-Men. He's a member of the X-Men. Yeah.
I'm like, that doesn't fit. That doesn't work at all.
No, I agree.
Castle? Yes.
Yep. But yeah, the show was great. This episode was great. It made me want to buy and read more Daredevil comic books.
Yeah.
Which I can because you loaned me the first collection of the Zdarsky run.
I did.
So I can't wait to dive into that. But yeah, I was looking at my comic shelf the other day and I was like, I've got some Daredevil books, but sorely lacking. And for the amount that I love that character, I should have a lot more Daredevil books on my shelf. So I'm gonna take some steps to remedy that.
There you go.
And get like a Frank Miller omnibus.
I was literally just thinking about the Miller run. I was like, you know what? I don't know if I've actually read the Miller run.
I've read parts of it.
Right, exactly. I know I've read bits and pieces.
A lot there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be like saying I need the entire Claremont run of X-Men.
Yeah.
Which I may or may not have in omnibus form.
Which we also kind of have. Yeah. So that's all I got. You got anything else about Daredevil?
No, good here. Great show.
Yeah.
Great.
Same.
Yeah.
We'll be back next week with more. And then the week after that, we'll be back with our Star Wars ranking episode. We'll be ranking the Star Wars television shows
for our May the 4th episode.
Matt Peseta. Once again, my comic book, I Brought a Gorilla to a Gunfight, launches on Kickstarter tomorrow morning. Please check it out. Please pledge if you are able. I would really appreciate it. Love you forever. And other than that, do all the things that Steve told you to do. Follow us and like us and subscribe to us. And we're on Blue Sky. We're on Instagram. And that's it. So as the two suns set over the burnt corpses of Owen and Brew Lars, we say thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we'll see you in the multiverse.